Yeah, thank you, and thanks for those of you who are brave enough to come into the tent here. Don't often get a big audience for little baby junior nano cap copper explorers like Kopore, but there is a good reason to be here. Kopore is unusual in that it has a extensive strategic underexplored chunk of the Kalahari copper belt straddling the border between Botswana and Namibia, totalling 14,813 square kilometres, which is a staggeringly large land position. And I'm going to spend most of the 10 minutes on one slide in a minute, which explains how strategic this is and how important it is. So I can't stress enough the size and the district scale of our land package. We have intercepted copper and silver on the footwall contact where all the known major deposits in the Kalahari belt sit. So we've proved the concept. We haven't found a deposit yet, but we've proved the concept. We have numerous underexplored or non-explored targets. We've seen copper in multiple locations. And perhaps importantly, as well as I'll explain, there's a lot of momentum on the Kalahari belt at the moment with Kopore Canyon, which is a US private company currently in construction on the Zone 5 mine, and Sandfire recently taking over another Aussie company called Mod Resources, which has a positive feasibility study on the T3 deposit, and Sandfire will be making a development decision on that later in the year. We are, as I said, a nano cap, so it's good news is you haven't missed the run yet. We've got 640 odd million shares at a market cap of just over 3 million Aussie dollars, so probably the smallest market cap in the room. But this is what I want to spend the time on, and this really tells you the story. So this is a large map. I'll point you to the scale in the bottom right-hand corner there of the Kalahari belt. The dotted line that runs north-south here and then does a right angle is the border between Namibia to the west and Botswana to the east. The colour scheme here, if we start from the top right, the blue land holdings here is the US private company called Kopore Canyon. They've raised $650 million US to develop the Zone 5 mine, and that is in construction. Important to note there, a good third of that funding came from a $212 million US silver stream that was sold to Royal Gold. So the silver component here is quite key. They've issued a mining contractor to Barminco out of Australia, which is many hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's a real project. Going to the west, in the orange-coloured land, is Sandfire. Sandfire is a $1 billion market cap Australian copper producer, if you don't know. They bought this project not only for T3, which is a deposit that's basically ready to go. They're just rejigging the feasibility study at the moment, but also significant potential in numerous other copper occurrences on the belt in their land package. The green land package belongs to us, to Kopore. As I said earlier, that totals 14,813 square kilometres, roughly half and half in Botswana and Namibia. And down to the southwest of us, in the red colour here, is a small company called Rio Tinto, who've just been awarded that large land package, which is over 14,000 square kilometres as well. That was granted in November. So I don't have any information on what Rio might or might not be doing there yet, but we're happy to welcome them as neighbours. Since I took control of this company about April last year, we raised a small amount of money and we started drilling for the first time in our properties in Namibia. And you can see there's multiple targets and multiple names, but the ones we drilled a few holes into were Ongava, Otjari, and finally Kembo. Now I'm pleased to report that the last 5 holes that we drilled, and so this is in November, December last year, all of them had copper in those holes. Not a copper discovery that's going to make the share market get excited yet, but all of them had copper, all of them had silver, and the final 2 holes, and this is really quite significant, were the first 2 holes that we've ever drilled here, which actually has hit the key geological contact between 2 rock units, one known as the Dakar Formation and one known as the Nguako Pan Formation, and it's on or near that contact that both the Zone 5 deposit of Kopore and the T3 deposit of Sandfire, they both sit on that contact. So we'd never actually found that contact before, and we did in our final 2 holes, which is a proof of concept thing, because in those holes we did get some actually better intercepts. The best one of all, which is still not, doesn't make a mine, but we got a 4 metre copper sulphide intersection right on that contact, and released one of the intercepts to the market in December, which was 2 metres at 0.5% copper and 66 grams silver. So where to from here for us? As I said, as a nano cap company, my job is to look after my shareholders and not dilute them too much. We very much think that we have a strategic land package here. The ASX market, in its wisdom, is effectively telling me that my land package is valued at 0, and I just don't accept that. So we're not going to give up on our asset and go and find another one. We want to keep as much exposure to our asset as we can without too much dilution. So we're talking about a number of ways of funding the next rounds of exploration that don't necessarily involve the issuance of an enormous amount of equity at the current low levels. Now, what is just interesting to recall here, before I move on from the slide, we are the odd one out here on the Kalahari Belt. You've got Kopore in the blue, who've just raised $650 million to build a mine. They've issued an $800 million mining contract. You've got Sandfire next door, who have a $1 billion market cap. And you've got Rio, the other side of us, who obviously have a very large market cap as well. And yet here we are with a similar land package in the same rocks, on the same regional structures, and only a baby market cap. So I want you to keep that in your mind, and we'll just flick through a couple of other things before we get to the end of the time. We have designed, excuse me, a program for this year. It's about a $5 million program, which we plan to do some airborne EM over most of that Namibian land package and a bit of our Botswana, and then we'll move into some more drilling there. Remembering we've only drilled 10 holes in Namibia total. There's some detail there of what we plan to do later this year. Obviously, this presentation is available on our website as well for anyone who is really interested. You can see the picture at the bottom here, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about in the Kalahari Desert. So it's pretty flat, it's sandy, it's hot, it's dry, it's farming country with lots of cattle. So it's actually a pretty easy place to work, and the infrastructure here is very, very good. This picture is government magnetics of our land position in Namibia, and in fact the picture at the core there at the bottom is historical core drilled by previous explorers, which we have access to as well, which has significant value. And just to illustrate here with those colours on the magnetics map, that it is quite easy here to identify the kind of big structures. We need to do the airborne EM to be able to drill down. This is another one of the targets that we drilled. I mentioned earlier on Gava, and I mentioned that we keep on getting copper in these holes, but not significant widths. And so that picture of the core there has some sphalerite and some chalcopyrite in there, but as you can see, we're not talking metres and metres of it. So look, I will finish on time because this is a very simple story. So just to recap, district scale land holding in the Kalahari Belt, in Namibia and Botswana. We have intercepted copper and silver on the regional footwall of the Nguako Pan, Dakar contact, which is where the known deposits sit. We have equal largest land holding there with a nano market cap, multiple showings, multiple targets. We think we're really close to getting to understand what we need to do. We're looking forward to our next programs in both the wonderful republics of Namibia and Botswana, and I thank you for your time.